I'm using the Sinclair Twinberry leggings rather than the Wild Lightning Leggings, which is what I normally use. And these have an attached skirt. So my daughter has picked the high-low version and the capri length leggings. So this is the fabric that I'm going to be using tonight. My son made himself a t-shirt in this fabric and she wants to match him, but you know, t-shirts are boring, so she needs a skirt she can twirl in, leggings, the lot. So just give me 5 more seconds and we will get going. So a big hello to our camera lady who is back with us today.
Oh.
So Leah is back. So any mean or sarcastic comments will be coming directly from her. So here we are. So to begin with, let's just go over the pieces actually. I've cut out 2 leg pieces. These are mirror images of each other. So you've got right hand and left hand leg. I can't work out which one's which right now, but one of them's the right and one of them's the left. This is my waistband up here, so I'll be doing the yoga waistband. I'm not going to do the elastic insert. And then this is my skirt, so this is the back piece, the longer piece, and then you've got the high front, which is the smaller piece. That's it really. Leggings are fairly simple. So we're going to start by taking our leg pieces. The crotch, this is the front crotch, and this is the back because your bum's bigger. So we are going to put them right sides together. And all we're going to do is sew this seam from the ankle to the crotch. We're going to do that on both leg pieces, and that will give us 2 complete legs. So I'm just going to clip them together to start with. Try and line it up nicely. I'm going to clip both of my legs at the same time so that I can whiz them both through the overlocker. Just speeds things up rather than stopping to clip in a minute. So again, from the crotch to the ankle, then we know we are sewing the right pieces. Now because these leggings in effect would only really have 3 pieces, they're very easy to make, fairly quick. So if you're sewing along, you should almost have your legs clipped. Don't worry, I will be putting this on the YouTube channel later. So if you do fall behind at any point, don't worry, it will come back later. There you are, so that's one leg, that's the other leg. So all we're going to do is overlock down where we stitched, clipped, and that will create a leg for us. Bring my overlocker a bit closer so I can actually reach. As normal, I have my blade turned off because I don't like the blade. And then we're just going to sew straight down that seam. Overlocking is brilliant for leggings because you get the stretch, but you can also use a zigzag stitch. You need to use something that will stretch, so some machines have a stretch stitch, but otherwise a zigzag or an overlocker. Otherwise when you put them on, all the seams will burst. There we go. There you are, so that's both of our legs done. Now, this is a technique which I find easiest for leggings, and it is the way it's actually done in the instructions. Some legging companies don't do it like this, but I prefer it this way. Take one of your legs, doesn't matter which one, and turn it the right way out. You'll now have one that's right sides on the outside and one that's still wrong sides. So They should look identical at this point, but you should be able to see a seam on one of them. We're going to take the one, which is right side out, and we're going to put it, making sure the back crotch is at the back and the front crotch is with the front crotch. And we're just going to put it inside the other leg and pull it through. All the way up. Now, I then like to get my seams at the top here, and I like to make sure one's pointing one way and one's pointing the other. Then when you overlock them, they tend to lock together as you go past them. And I'm just going to trim these points off because I don't have my blade on. It won't get done as I go past. And that's how you create a lovely match seam. And now all you're going to do is clip this seam and the back seam. So this is your front crotch, the smaller one, and then your back crotch is the longer one. And then, apart from the waistband and a bit of hemming, your leggings will be pretty much done. There we are. So now you should have this kind of shape. You can see we've almost got a U of clips there. So we're just going to sew around that U. There we go. So we're going to go all the way down and back up the other side. Be careful you don't get the edge of your overlocker stuck inside the crotch, because then it pulls the fabric as you put it through. Stretch it out shape. It's quite easy to do on the smaller ones because they're so small. There you go. Now keep one of these pointing one way and one pointing the other, so that as we go over them they lock together and create a nice seam. I'll show you what I mean once I've sewn it. It's much easier to see when you get to the other side. I'm just going to curve that round. A little bit more maybe. And then all the way up the other side. There you are. So now you'll basically have a funny looking tube. And as if by magic, if we pull one of these legs out, like that, and then turn the other one, they're already recognisable as a little pair of leggings. There you go. So what I mean by locking the seam together is if you do it one way and one the other, you get that really neat looking cross in the middle. It's because they can't slip and slide off of each other, because they're both pushing into each other when you're sewing. So I now need to just clip these threads off. I don't ever bother sewing these in if I know I've got another seam going over the top to hold it down, which I will have with this as a waistband. So now we just need to quickly do our skirt. So we're going to get our front piece, which if you're doing the high-low is the smaller one. If you're doing a circle skirt, then it'll be the same size as your back piece. And we're just going to line up these straight edges, making sure we've got right sides together. Obviously it's a lot easier to see on pattern fabric. So I'm just going to get right to those corners, and I'm just going to make sure my edges line up. And I'm going to clip right the way along there. And again, I'm going to do both sides up at the same time. I thought that would slide around a little bit more. It didn't really spin, it just kind of stuck to the table. There you go. So let's make sure those corners meet up nicely. That's back. Oh, sorry about that. It looks like our Wi-Fi connection dropped slightly there. Hopefully you're all still able to see the video. We appear to be back. Recap what we did. So all we're doing is clipping our side seams of our skirt, And we're putting our small piece on top, the back piece at the bottom if you're doing a high-low. Both pieces will be the same size if you're just doing a standard circle skirt. My daughter just wants the high-low version. So now all we're going to do is overlock along these seams that we've clipped. Nice straight seams. So that shouldn't take us 2 ticks. And then we're going to attach it, pop a waistband on, and job done. As normal, we won't be doing any hemming in the sew along because it takes a while to do. And nobody likes to watch me hem. So we're going to go all the way around. So I have come across a new way to hem, which is to sew your hem allowance around the bottom and then iron that hem upwards on the line you've just sewn with the straight stitch. Then hem it and then just pull that line of stitching out. I haven't tried it yet, but I will try it on this skirt and let you know how it goes. Okay, so there we have it, a little circle skirt. I'm going to leave this inside out for now. Ooh. Sorry, finger in the way there. Camera lady's obviously a bit out of practice after she's missed a few sessions. Not deliberately, of course, but you know. There we go, and now we have a waistband. So this is our stretch, wrong sides, right sides. We're just going to fold it so the short ends are together and we've got right sides facing. So that's the right side. Don't know if you can see the difference in the fabric texture there. That's my right side of my jersey. That's the wrong side. So I'm just going to sew down that short edge. It will look tiny. And I'm always surprised at how small they are. And then my daughter puts it on and then they fall down. So they always do look a bit small. So let's just sew down that short edge. So quite a few nice straight edges to sew. Ooh. You can hear them clips rattling around in there. Okay, so now obviously we want to hide this seam, so we're just going to fold the whole thing in half, so we end up with basically a loop of fabric. It's all folded in half, and that there is your waistband, which we're going to sew on in a sec. We just need to line everything up now. So because this has got a skirt attached, we need to make sure we know which side is our front and which side's our back. I'd really rather she had the longer bit on the back rather than at the front with a short bit at the back. So this is a lot lower. Let me put the leggings up the right way for you so you can see. This is a lot lower. This will be our front of our leggings, and this higher bit at the back will be the back bit. Stops you from having a builder's bum. That's why the backs of the leggings are higher. So I know that I need this front piece of the skirt to go against the front piece of my leggings. So just going to pop that in there. There we are. And I'm just going to mark my centre points of my leggings here. There we go. So you should be able to see that this bit and this bit are not the same length. That's because this bit and this bit are different sizes to create that curve at the front. But we need to mark these centre points for the band in a second. So I'm just going to start by clipping the sides of my skirt to those centre points. There we go. And then I'm going to clip the other side of my skirt to the other side. I always like to have my seams facing backwards. I don't know why, it's just, I think if everything points the same way, it just makes it a little neat.
Back.
Are we back? There we go. Sorry, this doesn't normally happen. We don't normally have any Wi-Fi issues, but for some reason it's playing up today. Right, now that we've sandwiched our skirt in, if you're not doing a skirt, just ignore that step. We're going to take our waistband. Now, I always do my seam at the centre back. It's just the way I prefer it. So we are going to find our centre points first. So this one's easy to find, that's the back seam, and that is the centre. Just going to line up the two layers, stick a clip in there. And then we're going to line our clip up with our back seam, and this will give us our two side centre points. There and there. Now we're going to pop our waistband on here. If your waistband has a directional print on, and when you do this, it appears to all of the print is the right way up, then you have your band up the correct way. If your print is upside down at this point, by the time you've turned it, it will be upside down. So, I have lots of layers here. This is the back of my leggings, so I want to bring this round to where the back of my skirt is. However, I also need to line up my skirt. So I'm going to pull that through. I think I'm going to clip my skirt first and just check which way the seam is bending so that we don't have a wobbly seam in the crotch. Right, so I'm just going to quickly pin my skirt on because it's moving around all over the place. And what we don't want in a minute is for that skirt not to be caught. I mean, it does say in the instructions that you can sew this on first and then add the waistband. But I thought, well, we'll just go for it. Which I'm now partially agreeing. So I'm just going to clip around this skirt. I think this pattern's got some little knee patches as well that you can applique on for those children that love scooting around on their knees or fall over a lot. There. Okay. So it's quite a versatile pattern. But any legging that doesn't have a seam down the side of the leg, you can construct in the same way. So what I mean by that is sometimes, especially for joggers like the ones I'm wearing actually, these actually have a seam running down them on the outer leg, but these leggings don't, because the two legs are just mirror images. You don't cut two pieces for them. There. So, skirt is attached. Should be a bit easier to attach my waistband now. So I'm going to line up my centre back waistband somewhere. There it is, it's twisted around. With the centre back of my skirt. Just going to clip that in there. Turn that way actually. Now you have to be careful here because you want to get all these layers together. There's loads of them going on here. So I want to make sure that the right clips are in the right place. Now I need to find my front seam, and that needs to clip with the front clip of my waistband, because in a minute we need to stretch the waistband evenly between these clips so that when we sew it on you don't get pull, you know, it's not tighter in one bit and looser in another. And then we're going to match our side seams.
So, got a question.
Yep.
Sorry to jump in here, but I may be wrong, but shouldn't the skirt be the other way round?
Oh,
Is it not going to be the wrong way out?
Possibly. Oh, you are right. Shall I start again?
Gold star to you.
Gold star. You are correct. It will be the wrong way out. Thank you for pointing that out. I mean, please do jump in if you see things like that, because my daughter would be most disappointed with an inside-out skirt. Take all my clips off. Do it again. Right. You are right. It's not right sides together when doing this. Right, let's put these edge clips back on so I know where my centres are. And there goes Leah's hope of having a fairly short tutorial to film.
Yeah. But a happy, you know, niece, so.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
We don't want a grumpy child. Right, let's tuck all that back in again. And I'm actually just going to find the centre points properly this time, rather than winging it. Seeing as we've got to clip it all again anyway.
So both garments are the right way round now?
Yes, they are both right sides out. Very well pointed out there. God, I'd have been most upset if I'd seen that and then realised. Because overlocking is the worst stitch to unpick. It takes forever. Even the speedy method. Right, let's put this all back together. Centre of the skirt, centre of the leggings. Centre of the skirt, centre of the leggings. There you are. Oh, accidentally unclipped. Didn't actually catch it. Right, centre skirt, centre leggings. Okay. And now we'll put the waistband on. Luckily, it doesn't really matter on this one which side's the right side out, as long as when it's turned it ends up sandwiching everything together. There we are. Right, okay. So let's go back to clipping. Let's get our 4 points. So it's getting a bit bulky back here, but we'll go for it anyway. I'm actually going to flip that the other way. I'm going to clip this on. I'm going to put that on there. Front clip, front clip.
So I realise I'm totally in your way.
That's cool, that's cool. Okay. And then we're going to do our side ones. See, the thing is, this is normally Leah's job. This is what she does.
Yeah. She
clips everything and then hands it to me and I sew it. So, really, she should be doing this bit.
So really it's my fault she did it wrong, is what she's trying to say, guys.
Totally. That's what little sisters are for, isn't it? Taking the blame. There we go. Right, and now we are going to stretch that section just enough that our skirt and our legging piece lay flat. We don't want to make them... We don't want to stretch the skirt and the leggings out of shape. We just want to make it so that the waistband fits. And all I'm going to do is stretch it out enough and then put a clip in approximately the middle. We're actually going to stretch all this back out again when we sew it. This just helps get all our layers lined up nicely. You can see that I accidentally cut into my waistband there when I was cutting it out. But thanks for that. However, it doesn't really matter because it's jersey and it won't fray, and that will be absorbed into the seam allowance. So I wasn't too fussed. Okay, just got to make sure we get all these layers lined up, otherwise if we miss one on the way around we'll end up with holes. And then I'll be unpicking it anyway. There's the last bit in there. Go on, Scat. This is probably why
Should be 4 layers that are catching.
4 layers, yep. So we've got 2 for our waistband at the front, then a skirt, and then the leggings on the inside. So if we flip that waistband up now, with the clips on, this is how it will look when it's constructed. So you've got the waistband, a skirt, and then inside that you've got leggings. So let's just flip that back over. And now we're going to overlock it. I always like to start just before my centre back seam. So the first thing I do is catch that seam in. And I'm going to watch very carefully as I overlock to ensure that all 4 layers get caught in that seam allowance. And I want to gently tug. I'll sew it the other way up actually so you guys can see. Be a little bit easier. So I'll sew it so I can see the inside. So you want this fabric at the top to lay flat. You don't want to stretch it, you just want it to lay flat. The waistband on the outside will stretch. That's fine, that's what we want it to do. But in order to get a nice even band, you just make sure that the fabric on top's laying flat. So in we go. And then straight over this nice bulky seam, which has got goodness knows how many layers in it.
4.
Oh no, because that's got a seam in as well, so it'll have, it's got like 3 seams in there I think. So 7 layers maybe? There you go. So as you can see, the fabric, I'm just keeping it nice and flat and I'm not stretching it at all. As soon as it lays down flat, I'm stopping stretching. Just double checking my layers. So just want to keep it flat between the clips. Don't worry about the bit after the clip that you're getting to, because we'll get to that bit in a minute. Okay, so pulling it flat. Now I'm just going to snip this bit of thread off so it doesn't create masses of bulk when I go over that bit. And then just want to make sure there's no wrinkle in there as it sews up. And then just sharply off, and that will mean you've got a flat seam. Now this one I will sew in, so all I do is put a large needle on the end, poke it back through, pull it tight and just trim it off. There we go. So there you have a little pair of children's leggings with an attached skirt the right way out, attached in at the waistband. Doesn't it look beautiful? So hopefully my daughter will be happy with them in the morning. The only thing we've got left to do is to hem these legs. Now I find the easiest way to do this, and I'm not actually going to do the sewing, but I'll just show you the technique that I like to use. Skirt inside, make a big bum. So I like to turn it up this way round and then measure this bit and iron it before I hem. This keeps it up nice and steady while I hem. There's multiple ways you can hem a cuff. So the easiest way is to use a zigzag stitch or a stretch stitch. Don't use a standard straight stitch because it doesn't have a give in it. unless you're using some of the new Gutermann stretch thread, in which case you can. I wouldn't trust it for a super stretchy seam, but if it just needs a slight give, like a leg band, then that's fine. So you can then zigzag stitch it. Zigzags, obviously, because they're constructed like that, they've got a bit more give to them, so you can use them to go around your cuffs. The other option you have is a cover stitch machine. So these are specifically made for sewing a stretch seam, and they're the ones with a double or triple row of stitching, and then you'll see lots of loops in the back. And you can reverse it so you can see them loops on the outside, which is a nice effect. If you want that double stitching, but you don't have a cover stitch machine, you can use a twin needle. So these, you have to sew it so your garment is the right way out, and the needles go at the top, they create the parallel stitching, and you'll get a zigzag at the back. So it's not quite as good as a cover stitch machine in terms of stretch, and twin needles can be a bit tricky, but they create the same parallel line of stitching on the front. So hopefully you've all enjoyed that tutorial and you'll be confident to do...
The trousers.
Sorry?
The skirt, do you do the same as the trousers?
The skirt,
the hemming.
No, you don't need to. I would turn it in the same way and iron it down. However, I came across a little tip on one of the sewing groups that if you sew a straight seam, it's not really a seam, but a straight line of stitching all the way around your hem at exactly the distance you'd like to have it to hem like that, then you fold it up on that stitch line, iron it, and then you can use a straight stitch on a skirt hem because it doesn't need to stretch, it's just hanging down. It's only when you've got a stretch seam, such as cuffs, or if you're putting a band on and you want to top stitch around the edge of it, you've got to use a stretch stitch, otherwise it will just pop. There we are. So hopefully yours look a little something like this. This is called a high-low skirt because you've got the long piece at the back, a short piece at the front. So if you have made some children's leggings tonight, please do post them in the event, post them in the group, show me what you've been doing. I'd love to see them. And I'm going to go hem these. So have a lovely evening, everyone. And I will see you next time for modifying a hoodie into a dinosaur hoodie, including flip down claws. So that should be an exciting tutorial. So I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.